I heard a voice and I'm 100% convinced it was God, but its instructions I don't want to follow. They're benevolent in nature, but absolutely terrifying to me because I'm worried, I'm scared, and it's acting out of normal societal behaviors. Like why the fuck out of normal acting behaviors? And it takes balls to do them. It's been 5 years of avoiding this voice feeling. The more I ignore it, the worse the internal pain and conflict feels, cause it feels like the fuck thing to do. Also kind of irrational, not impossible, just not routine of the world. Do you feel like you get pain ignoring them? Former Latter-day Saints, and I take it as the Spirit telling me things to do in the repentance process. Help. Before I say anything else, it's important that you know that even though I'm mentally ill, hallucinations have never ever been an issue for me. If what I saw was a hallucination, then that means I've had one incident over the course of my entire life, which seems very unlikely. Moving on, I was in the psych ward once. I made a friend. This friend happened to be a black man, so his eyes were naturally dark brown, important to the story. One day we were in a group therapy session listening to the therapist talk, I can't remember about what. I noticed my friend was shaking violently, which isn't exactly alarming in a mental hospital, people do weird shit. But then I saw his eyes fade from dark brown to bright freaking yellow. My jaw dropped, I could not believe what I was seeing. I looked around to see if anyone else was seeing this shit, but no one seemed to notice. No one was reacting in any way, even the therapist kept talking without missing a beat. It was as if I was the only one witnessing it. After a moment he stopped shaking and his eyes went back to brown. I never saw anything else strange happen with him. Even years later, remembering this, I am shocked. Just wondering if anyone has had an experience like this. I was laying in bed with the lights on watching a video at night and I constantly hear a light banging noise in my closet. It happens often, so I just chalked it up to the AC being across from it in my room. I hear an odd noise beside, and so I look at the ground to my right and I see a black rectangular solid shadow zip away from me. It was about 6 x 4 inches long, and as it moved seemed to leave a trail like a blur. I would just assume it was my imagination, but I have a charger wire hanging down off the nightstand next to the bed and I'm certain it moved under it to avoid it and disappeared. I saw it for only 2 seconds, but it really stuck in my head. I can't help but feel like I caught it. I've heard of shadow people, rarely animals as well. But rectangles, well, that's a first for me. For all of history, human beings would go to sleep with the sun. Now, it's normal to go to sleep way beyond that. However, since I started to fall asleep by 10 p.m., I'm not exaggerating when I say I'm at least 5x more productive. I feel like I'm on natural stimulants when I go to sleep early. This is how the body is meant to function. Most of you are fatigued and you've just become so used to it that it's normal. Besides the loss in energy and creativity, this leads to obesity, hormone issues, as well as poor detoxification. We need to normalize early sleep. One night I got into a huge argument with my wife. I was so pissed I just left the argument and went straight to sleep. In the middle of the night I woke up and saw a face I can only explain as the Cheshire cat face with just the eyes and mouth showing. It was encrusted on my door looking off into the distance till it noticed I was looking at it and it looked at me and my mind went into protective mode and I told myself that can't be real and go back to sleep. It also felt like it was from a different dimension because the background of it was solid black and looked wavy like a gas leak. So the next day I kept trying to convince myself it was a dream, but deep down I knew it was real. Ever since I saw it, my life has been far from normal. I've seen pictures of what I saw on spiritual pages, but something deep inside me tells me to not show anyone. Just looking for someone to help shed some light on my situation. I'm trying my hardest to live a normal, non-paranoid life for the sake of my family. I want to share what happened to me this summer, and I'm not sure where exactly to share it besides here, since I don't really know how to explain what I heard/felt. I started working on a cruise ship in Hawaii in February 2023. I had a 6-month contract to fulfill with an end date in the beginning of August. The ship sailed around all the islands with the same itinerary every week, and the ship would dock overnight on the islands of Maui and Kauai every week, my two favorite islands, especially Kauai. I had a week left in my contract, and planned on staying a week in Maui when the contract ended. I had saved up a ton of money and wanted to make time to really enjoy the islands instead of seeing them from the crew deck. After nearly 6 straight months of working 7 days a week on a busy cruise ship with lots of rude passengers, I was pretty over it. But I was determined to finish my contract no matter what. We were docked in Maui and were scheduled to set sail around 5:30 p.m. At the time I worked 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the bar on the pool deck with a break at 11 a.m. I woke up that day and had a strange feeling. I felt like I needed to get off the ship. It wasn't just a "I don't want to go to work" feeling, I don't know how to describe it. I got dressed and went to my shift, but the feeling kept getting more intense. I left for my break and went back to my room to try to get a nap in. But when I got to my room, a voice in my head, I mean a full voice, not a feeling, calmly but sternly said, "Pack up. Leave now. Get off the ship. Pack up. Leave now. Get off the ship." It wasn't necessarily threatening, nor did it feel spooked or in danger. It made me feel excited and full of energy, and I actually started packing everything I had. I was going to jump ship, something I never thought I would do, as I always finish things that I start. I thought it was so dumb to not stick out the final week of work, but I felt so compelled to listen to this voice. I said goodbye to my friends on the ship, who were all shocked, since I never once hinted that I wanted to quit, and tried to stop me, but I continued on. I spent the next week staying in beautiful hotels and resorts in and surrounding Lahaina. I spent time eating great food, meeting great people, and just generally taking advantage of everything the island had to offer that I could never do because I was too busy on the ship. I fell in love with Lahaina. The old buildings, the history, the feel of it all. At sometimes the tourists were a little overwhelming, of course I say this as a tourist there myself, lol, but it was just beautiful. One of my Uber drivers told me to go to the banyan tree before I leave for home and put my hand on it, feel its energy, and thank it. So I did. I placed my hand and head on its trunk, and it's like this energy just turned on inside my body. I couldn't hear the sounds of the crowds of tourists around me, I couldn't hear anything actually. All I could feel was this connection that I never felt before. I can't describe what I felt, but something in that tree reassured me that I did the right thing. Then it told me it was time to go. 2 days later and I'm back on the east coast of the mainland, catching up with friends and family who I miss so much, when an alert from one of my news apps pops up on my phone. Maui was on fire. Specifically, Lahaina was on fire. I opened the app and saw pictures and videos of the courthouse, the banyan tree, the restaurants where I ate, the hotels where I stayed, all transformed to rubble. I couldn't fucking believe it. All I could think of were all the people I shared that week with, all the people who showed me the best time of my life, and how they may not be on this earth anymore. I thought about the bartenders who served me, the shop owners who sold me their goods, the fishermen who caught the food I ate. They could all be gone. It wasn't until one of my ship friends texted me asking if I was alive until it hit me. I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to end my contract 2 days prior and stay in Maui. I turned off the news and just broke down crying. I still cry sometimes thinking about it. I've never heard that voice in my head before and I haven't heard it since. But whatever it was, thank you for saving me. I don't know what purpose I have on earth, but I'm grateful to still have a chance to figure it out.
mosey on down to the Atomic Shaman Trading Post. We have t-shirts, decals, refrigerator magnets and other swag for sale. What better way to show your support for the show? Our merch can only be found on t.pub/link/Atomic Shaman Trading Post.
Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Green Text Stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.